Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're doing well today. We've got another major Social Security update, and this one could impact every single beneficiary out there. Yes, this applies to SSDI, SSI, Social Security retirement, survivors' benefits, literally everyone tied into the Social Security system. Now what we're hearing, and yes, this is from a real, official press release, which I'll be popping up on the screen shortly for you, is that they're floating a 10% clawback cap, and everyone would be included. That means in cases where someone is overpaid by Social Security, instead of taking back all of your monthly benefit, which they've done, they would be limited to taking just 10% of your monthly check, which is a huge difference. But here's the thing I want to talk about before I bring that up on the screen for you. Do you believe that Social Security and the administration, along with the Department of Justice, DOJ, should have this much authority to keep making massive changes without direct input from the people it affects most, you, the beneficiaries? Seriously, leave a comment down below. Even just a yes or no is enough. Do you feel that Social Security should be allowed to continue implementing these major policy changes on their own like this? It feels like there are way too many cooks in the kitchen right now, and the kitchen is Social Security. And when too many cooks get involved, we all know what happens, the recipe gets completely ruined. And in this case, the recipe is people's financial stability, and for many, even their ability to survive month to month. And I'll be honest, 2025 has been one of the most chaotic years for Social Security policy in recent memory. It seems like every other week, we're getting another press release from the SSA, from lawmakers, from administration officials. Someone is making yet another adjustment, issuing another emergency internal memo, or trying to walk back a previous policy. I get it. I say that all the time, there's another change. But let me just say it again, especially if you're new here or just recently started paying attention to Social Security policy. This is not normal. This level of frequent, conflicting updates is extremely unusual. It's like watching a game of policy ping-pong, and sadly, the ones getting bounced around are everyday Americans, seniors, people with disabilities, low-income families, widows, veterans, everyone depending on Social Security. Alright, now let's go ahead and bring up the press release. This one comes from a proposed bill introduced by lawmakers, and yes, it's got a name you honestly can't make up. It's called the Claws Off Social Security Act. Yup. That's the real name. I don't know what kind of branding meeting came up with that, but that's what it's called. The Claws Off Social Security Act is essentially a response to the ongoing backlash over Social Security's overpayment clawbacks. If you remember, for decades the SSA could garnish 100% of a person's benefit if they determined that the individual was overpaid, regardless of whether the error was the fault of the SSA itself. Then, early last year in March 2024, they implemented a cap of 10% or $10, whichever was greater, which honestly was a great relief for many people. At least beneficiaries weren't losing their entire monthly benefit overnight. But that only lasted a year. In March 2025, they announced the reinstatement of the 100% clawback, which sparked nationwide outrage. Then, just a few weeks later, a leaked emergency letter suggested that they were shifting again, this time to 50% garnishments, trying to soften the blow but still collect aggressively. So now, with the Claws Off Social Security Act, these lawmakers are basically saying, enough. We need to lock in the 10% cap permanently, for everyone, not just SSI. And here's why that matters. If someone has an overpayment of $12,000 or $15,000, and yes, these are real numbers that many people have seen due to SSA errors, a 100% clawback could leave them with zero income for months on end. Think about that. No money for rent, for food, for medications, for utilities. It's not just unreasonable, it's inhumane. But under the 10% cap, while yes, it might take years to pay it off, at least the beneficiary still has income left to live on. That's what this bill is all about, basic fairness. And let me be clear, the Claws Off Social Security Act has not passed yet. But the fact that it's been introduced, and that it's gaining bipartisan interest, is a good sign. There is growing recognition that the current system is broken, and it punishes the people who can least afford to be punished. Now here's another interesting twist. Remember that leaked emergency memo I mentioned? The one I showed you in a separate video? That internal Social Security communication suggested that SSA was shifting its stance, quietly planning to implement 50% garnishments instead of 100%. That wasn't even publicly announced, it was discovered by someone on the inside and then made its way to us. That shows you how chaotic and uncertain the policy landscape is right now. So the real question becomes, why is there so much confusion and backtracking on this issue? And the answer, in my opinion, is simple. Public pressure is working. Advocacy groups, journalists, everyday citizens, you, viewers of this channel, are raising your voices, and lawmakers are starting to listen. But we have to stay vigilant. These changes, these back and forths, can happen at the stroke of a pen. What's allowed today might not be allowed tomorrow. And unless it's codified into law, nothing is permanent. Which brings me back to the importance of the clause of Social Security Act. Even though the name is, well, a little odd, the purpose behind it is something I think most of us can agree on: give people stability, predictability, and fairness in the face of SSA errors. And by the way, this bill does allow for voluntary larger payments. So if someone wants to pay off their overpayment faster, they can. But it would be their choice, not forced upon them. Before we wrap up, let me say this: if you're watching this and you're currently dealing with an SSA overpayment, please don't panic. You have rights. There are appeals, waiver options, and now, potentially new legislation that could offer protection. Stay informed, stay organized, and stay connected. And as always, if you want more certainty in at least one area of your life, I highly recommend connecting with our trusted team of Medicare advisors. Whether you're enrolling for the first time, switching plans, or just trying to save money, these folks can help you find the right coverage for your personal medical needs. They've got access to over 20,000 plans, and they're working exclusively with viewers like you. Just call the number on the screen right now. It's not some random call center, it's a dedicated team working directly with this community, helping people just like you optimize their Medicare coverage and possibly save hundreds or even thousands of dollars a year. Even if you think you've already got a good plan, it never hurts to double-check. A 15-minute phone call could make a huge difference. Alright, that's all for this video. I'll continue tracking the clause of Social Security Act and any other updates that come through from SSA, Congress, or the administration. And as soon as anything changes, I'll be right here breaking it down in plain English for you. Until next time, take care, stay safe, and keep advocating for yourself and others. We're in this together.